Okay, so I'm back with David Bond. We spoke recently about traveling and how traveling affects you using Tinder. David and I are going to be talking about taking a good photo for your Tinder profile because one of the biggest objections we hear all of the time is what?
I don't have good photos, or, but I don't have a photo of me doing X, or, but I've never been there, or whatever,
Right.
So, okay, so the first thing to say, let's talk about what good photos are. And I'm always reluctant to talk about topics like this because I feel like there's so much information already out there that it's just going to be kind of me repeating myself. But obviously, photos that show that you have an active life, show that you do cool things, so show that you have friends, all that stuff is important. But let's
Oh, I just want to add on to this. This is, I think, very important. In my opinion, what makes a really good Tinder photo isn't, and I know I've talked in the past about what a good Tinder photo is, but this is the core of it, is if a girl sees it, or if anyone sees it, even if a guy sees it, does that photo make them say to themselves, wow, that looks fun, I want to be there too? You at your family's like wedding reception does not make someone say, "Oh, that looks fun." You at a bar with a group of like three dudes doesn't make them say, "Oh, wow, I want to be there with you." Right? They might say, "Oh, well, at least he's social. At least he has family. At least the picture looks good," right? But that's not what you want. You don't want at least. What you want is a photo where someone looks at it and they, more than anything, want to be there with you, hanging out, part of your life. And traveling is a great way to do that. And when you look at David's profile and when you look at my profile, every single photo on there is either hyper flattering or, more importantly, you see it and you're like, dude, that looks fun.
Yeah, so photos, in my opinion, is one of the biggest and easiest things you can fix. Um, Now, I want to kind of just like first, I'll give my opinions on this topic. First of all, your main photo obviously should be a headshot. In general, I advocate smiling. I know there's some debate on that. Personally, me, like I like to all my photos I want to be opposite of creepy. And I know that some guys, when they're serious, maybe they'll look better, but my profile is like fun guy profile, so smiling. That's my main photo is usually me smiling. Or one thing that I'll do is I'll actually take 4 photos that are really flattering that all kind of follow this trend of like smiling, happy, flattering, whatever, and I'll cut it in 4. So my main photo is actually a collage of 4 different headshots.
Oh, wow.
So that's one thing that I've done, and I've found that to be really effective.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
So the second photo is usually me. I have this really cool selfie. I went skydiving recently. What am I saying? I went skydiving. I'm so used to saying recently because when I talk to girls, I just tell them that.
Yeah.
I went skydiving 5 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever it was. I think it was like 2000. I don't remember. But the skydive guy, he took a selfie with his GoPro. So it's both of us are smiling, and you can see that we're in the sky. There's that. Usually, that would probably be a second photo. A third photo will be some kind of like me in an exotic location. Like I have this really cool picture where I'm standing in front of like a temple in Japan with some people. I'll throw in a goofy photo, and obviously you want to have group shots. So I have this really awesome selfie that I have used many times where it's like me and like a Japanese guy and like a white guy, and like we're at a nightclub, and like there's like a girl, and like she's like trying to be in the picture. You can tell she's like hopping up, and so that's kind of my profile. Obviously I could take screenshots and show you guys, but the complaint that people have, or not the complaint, the thing that people talk about when they see a profile that is good, is they go, but I don't have a photo of me doing this. And my whole thing is, look, dude, meeting a girl is not just as simple as like there's a girl and you meet her. It's like meeting a girl is a process of being the type of guy who a girl wants to meet back. You know what I mean? It's, people think of meeting a girl like buying a hard drive. It's like, well, there's a hard drive, let me walk over. It's like, no, the hard drive also wants to meet someone too, or the girl wants to meet you too. So are you the type of guy that a girl would even want to meet? And if your profiles are all fucking bathroom selfies and, whatever, it's like that's a symptom that your life kind of sucks, And maybe instead of focusing on your Tinder profile as you sit in your basement, maybe you should say, well, wait, why does my, maybe I should have a lifestyle or a life in general, or maybe I should do something where if someone took a picture, it would showcase that I'm doing things cool or whatever, right? So, a skydive is considered an extreme thing. But when I went skydiving, I wasn't like, man, I really wish I had good Tinder photos. I'm going to go skydiving. I was like, dude, skydiving is like a insane bucket list thing. I was going through a little bit of a existential crisis at the time, and I did it, but I got an awesome photo. And I noticed that the more things I did in life that were kind of crazy and wild and whatever, the better photos I got. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it was kind of accidental. But the point is, if your photos suck, don't be mad at that. Use it as an opportunity, like, interesting, they suck. So maybe what should I do to make them not suck? What can I do that's awesome? What can I, why don't I go to join a meetup group that has some activity around it? Or why don't I, go hiking with some friends? Or why don't I go fucking book a flight and go to some crazy ass place and put an effort into taking photos? Like me and Mark recently, we were doing street photography. We did this literally yesterday, and we ended up randomly meeting a guy who ran a school.
Yep.
And I got probably one of the coolest pictures I've ever taken of myself. It's me with a ton of school kids in Thailand, and everyone is smiling their head off. I'm definitely going to use that in my Tinder profile because it communicates so many things. Like, who is this guy? Why are all these kids around him? Like, this is so cool. Yeah. Like, kids like him. He's interacting with the community here.
Yep.
Where, if I'm not in Thailand, let's say I go back to the United States, or if I go to, like, where is that? Oh, that's in Thailand. Like, why is this guy hanging out with a bunch of school kids in Thailand? Like, is he a volunteer? Did he donate? What the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the point is that this was a consequence of decisions that we made about our life. Yep. We wanted to explore Thailand. We wanted to meet real people. We wanted to do something a little different. Now, obviously, when you're traveling, what's the number one thing people do is they Google tourist attractions and whatever, and they just go to the typical places. We wanted to kind of step out of that, and the consequences, we got an awesome picture.
So yeah, I want to add on to this because I think it's such an important point. So just to lead off of the story about the school that we went to, and the objection that you talked about before, where, well, I don't have a photo like that. Well, we didn't have a photo like that until we got a photo like that, right? Yeah. And the reason that we got a photo like that is because we're in a new place. We literally opened up Google Map. We chose a random location. We went there, and then we just walked down the street and just said hello to everyone that we saw. And that was it. We didn't go into the school. We got invited in. And me too, I got the best photo I think I've ever gotten for Tinder, and I'll show it now as well. It looks like David's, from this sequence of events that we could never plan. So put yourself in situations that are random and different, and just be nice, be kind, say hello to people, meet people, and you'll notice that life kind of gives you those photos. You don't have to search them out.
I had this really cool selfie I used to use. It's where I saw this guy on the street who was a shoe repairman, and he was literally just had a little booth in the street, and I thought it was interesting. Now, I happen to have a shoe that I wore down the hill, so I paid him for some shoe repair. We ended up having a conversation, and I took a selfie, and there's this cool photo of me with this guy. He's got a mask on, all these shoes around him, and it's so insane. Cool. And I have my Canon with me, and I have my glasses in the background. It's jungle stuff, and it's like there's so many cool things about this photo. You know what I mean? But it was I just saw our opportunity. Oh, this is interesting. Just to kind of cut all this fluff away. You're gonna die, okay? So the excuses you have about why you can't do something as simple as Tinder are so stupid. You're dying. Every single day you're getting closer to death. And you have the internet where there's people who will tell you things on how to improve your life. So why don't you just fucking do it?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I know this is kind of a generic advice, but this is going to get a little philosophical, by the way. It's maybe even be off topic, but one of the best and worst things that ever happened to me was I had somewhat of a existential crisis when I was 27, 28, and it was when someone asked me a question about like my life, it was like something like, what is your favorite memory of like 2006? And I remember thinking, I have no answer for that. And it was a simple thing. It was brief, but that stuck with me. I'm like, what the fuck happened in 2006? And I was like, dude, 2006, that's like 365 days.
Yep.
I can't even think of one answer. That's fucking stupid, right? And then I started thinking, well, what am I even doing? And I started like spiraling in these questions like, I'm going to be 30 eventually. I haven't done anything. What have I done? And it kind of like was a crisis, right? That existential crisis ended up becoming worse and worse to the point where I was waking up at night with panic attacks because I was realizing that I'm going to be 30 and that I started having this really crazy paranoia of death. I know this is a little bit deep, right? But the point is, all this pushed me because it was almost like I realized a fact about life that I knew deep down, but it didn't really like resonate with my emotions. It's kind of like, I have a video, you guys should check it out. It's called You're Dying, Act Like It. Imagine you're on a train track and you're tied to it. And you know there's going to be a train that's going to come eventually, right? And I make this analogy saying like, the emotions you'd feel when you see the train versus when the train's like miles away are different. Because when you see the train, you know you're about to die.
Yeah.
But when you don't see the train, you're like, well, that's going to happen someday, right? And my whole point is, you are on a train track. It's called mortality. You will be hit by the train eventually. And the problem is a lot of people, they don't wake up and start taking action on the things they should do in life until they like realize the train's coming. It's kind of like that famous study, like the woman who interviewed people on their deathbed about their life regrets.
Yeah.
And it's like, why should we have to wait till we're on our deathbed to start realizing that we should have lived our life differently? Like we are on our deathbed now, but we're just in our regular bed delaying, like the deathbed's coming, just like the train, right? So this little crisis I had, it made me do such radical things, like ridiculous things. Like I quit a really good job with benefits for no reason, just because I was like, what the fuck? I'm not doing anything. And I wanted to, at the time, I just wanted to go to Japan. That's all I wanted to do because I was like, that'd be fun. And the point is like, you know, there's going to be people out there watching this video and they're going to hear what we're saying and they're going to shrug it off. They're like, oh, whatever. It's like, dude, don't you realize you're fucking dying, dude? I know this is getting off topic, but the things we're telling you might sound hard, but you know what else is hard is fucking being dead or having one life and wasting it, making excuses by why you can't save up $1,000 and fucking go to Hawaii and take a selfie for your Tinder or whatever.